Welcome to day 216 of the New Way. I'll read Matthew 20:29 through 34. As Jesus and his disciples were leaving Jericho, a large crowd followed him. 2 blind men were sitting by the roadside, and when they heard that Jesus was going by, they shouted, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us." The crowd rebuked them and told them to be quiet, but they shouted all the louder, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us." Jesus stopped and called them. "What do you want me to do for you?" he asked. "Lord," they answered, "we want our sight." Jesus had compassion on them and touched their eyes. Immediately they received their sight and followed him. Note that Matthew records 2 blind men. Also note that the crowd around Jesus told them to be quiet, but Jesus had compassion on them and healed them, and they followed Jesus. Now I'll read Mark's version in Mark 10:46 through 52. Then they came to Jericho. As Jesus and his disciples, together with a large crowd, were leaving the city, a blind man, Bartimaeus, which means son of Timaeus, was sitting by the roadside begging. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Many rebuked him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted all the more, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called to the blind man, "Cheer up, on your feet, he's calling you." Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and came to Jesus. "What do you want me to do for you?" Jesus asked him. The blind man said, "Rabbi, I want to see." "Go," said Jesus, "your faith has healed you." Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. Mark reports only one blind man, and his name was Bartimaeus. Again, many around Jesus told him to be quiet, but Jesus healed him, and he began to follow Jesus. Let's read Luke's account in Luke 18:35 through 43. As Jesus approached Jericho, a blind man was sitting by the roadside begging. When he heard the crowd going by, he asked what was happening. They told him, "Jesus of Nazareth is passing by." He called out, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Those who led the way rebuked him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted all the more, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Jesus stopped and ordered the man to be brought to him. When he came near, Jesus asked him, "What do you want me to do for you?" "Lord, I want to see," he replied. Jesus said to him, "Receive your sight. Your faith has healed you." Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus, praising God. When all the people saw it, they also praised God. Luke reports only one blind man. The people going ahead of Jesus, leading the way, told him to be quiet, but Jesus healed him, and he began to follow Jesus. Once again, we are faced with a discrepancy in the reports. I see 3 possible reasons for it. Number 1, Matthew was present and reported 2 men, but Mark and Luke were not present and therefore wrote what other people told them. They may have forgotten the other man. Or Mark and Luke deliberately left out the other blind man because he didn't continue to follow Jesus after he was healed. Or this could have been two different incidents. Jesus healed so many people that it's possible that Jesus could encounter 3 blind men along the road from Jericho to Jerusalem. I lean toward number 2, but I have no proof. Another question we'll have to leave for heaven. You will notice that in all 3 accounts, the people around Jesus, or those who were leading the way, told the blind man to be quiet. You will encounter followers of Jesus who are in active ministries, who are not tuned to Jesus' plan. You may encounter whole churches who are formed without obedience to Jesus' commands. I got to sing at a church in St. Louis when I was in college. It was a lovely group of people, but I didn't feel God's presence there. As our group was leaving, the ushers unlocked the doors to let us out. We asked why the doors were locked, wondering if there was a safety issue that we should know about. The ushers told us that the neighborhood children would come in and disturb the worshipers if they left the doors unlocked. We were told that they weren't dressed appropriately for church, and they were often dirty and unkempt. So they locked the doors to keep them out. I don't think this church was tuned to Jesus' ministry. When Jesus said, "Your faith has healed you," was it the man's faith that healed him, or was it the one he placed his faith in? Make sure you distinguish between the two. Our faith cannot heal us if we place our faith in something other than Jesus. The power of positive thinking is good, but it's not good enough without Jesus. In his service, Dale.